We're into the new year, so I want to start things off big. In today's video, I'm going to be including two builds. First up, we got Hirano, who managed to get first in both the Japan and North American server, exclusively playing Berserker. And for the second build, we're going to be checking out the counter to Berserkers. Let's check it out after a quick piano intro. Alright, first up we got the classic Berserkers. The most important thing about how the rank 1 player Hirano plays it is the leveling guide. Before we do that though, I quickly just want to touch up on items. What you want for this build is to prioritize the locket, and if you get it early on, the Zeke's Herald. We do not need to worry about the Olaf items just yet because you need to survive that early and mid game. So after you've gotten at least one locket, this is when you can start prioritizing the Hush, RFC, and Guardian Angel. These are the best in-slot items for Olaf, as the Guardian Angel just helps, randomly he's dying to things and you want him to get his ult off before perishing. Now, some other great item choices other than this Guardian Angel or RFC, if you can get it, are the Infinity Edge or the brand new Titan's Resolve. Now we will be taking a look at other variations if you're not getting the Berserker spat or finding a Singed, along with the items that go with those variations. Before we check those out though, I do want to look at the very important leveling guide. The thing that stays the most consistent is you always want to be level 5 after Krugs, okay? This never changes. Here you're not touching the level up button, you're just playing the strongest things that you can, and right after the carousel you're going to be going to level 5. You want to try to be around 20 to 30 gold on the round before Krugs. Now if you have a win streak, something that I noticed that there's a pattern, if you have at least of a minimum of 2 win streak, you're going to push level 6 earlier than usual. Most players are going level 6 on this round, but if you're, as I said, minimum 2 win streak, you're gonna go early, level 6 here, and you don't roll just yet. You want to roll here when everyone else is rolling as well. But this is just to get that one extra round of increased odds hitting those 3 and 4 cost units. Now, again, if you have the money to remain at 10 gold, this is when you want to push level 7. Do not do this though if it's going to take you below 10 gold. So here's the pattern. You're pushing level 6, you're rolling down to about 10 gold. You don't want to go lower than 10 gold on this stage. Now, if you're strong enough and you don't need to roll down to 10 gold, that's great because you can push 7. And here for sure, you want to again be at 10 gold. If you have extra money left over after the level up to 7, you can roll down a bit until you're hitting that 10 gold. And past wolves now is where you're going to roll the remainder of your gold. Again, if you hit an Olaf, you can sit at 10. 10 is that sweet spot, right? You want to try to not go lower than that 10G, okay? If you're hitting absolutely nothing, this is where you can go down to 0. Other than that, you're looking to roll down basically every turn down to 10 until you're hitting at least 1 Olaf to get your 6 Berserker online, as that's going to be a really big power spike for you. Now, if you don't have a win streak, then you just go level 6 on stage 3-2 as per usual. And same thing, if you're going to be lower than 10 gold, do not push level 7 here. You want to go level 7 on this stage and roll down your money, as we said, to that sweet spot 10G. Let's look at some strong early and mid game openers. Now this is by far the best one that you can get, the 2 Warden Electric Berserker combo. If you have the locket on top of that, you're going to be win streaking all the way until Wolves. At level 6, you just want to add in the Azir, and Azir can hold on to your Olaf items, whether that's the Hush, the RFC, Infinity Edge, whatever you have so far. Now, if you're not getting any Berserkers at all, Don't fret, here is another powerful opener. Your only investment will be the Varus 2, otherwise you're looking to get 3 Inferno, 2 Warden, really powerful right now for that early and mid game, and you want to slowly start transitioning out. The Varus can hold on to your Olaf items. Otherwise, just go with the standard woodlands, Maokai, Ivern, and Nico. Now let's look at those mid to late game transitions where you want to be the strongest you can be. Here's where you're going to have to do a little bit of scouting on the lobby to see which variation you want to play, and you also want to base it off of the roles that you're getting. So as we said, the Azir can hold on to the Olaf items. Now Azir can be replaced with the Kha'Zix, okay? And that's when you're swapping those items over to the Olaf. Now this is your power spike. This is the level 7 power spike you want to go for with the Kha'Zix. Now you're waiting. By the way, if you are playing an early Ornn, keep that on the bench when you take it out for the Kha'Zix. Why? Because if you roll a Zed, here comes one of the variations. At level 8, you can look to go 3 electric. We drop the Kha'Zix. We put the Ornn back in, and there we go. You do want to make sure that your Zed is getting the lock-up bonus. Now a quick tip on positioning. Berserkers, you always want them in the back, and let me tell you why. Okay, what happens like this is any ranged unit will walk up, bringing them closer to the splash damage that the berserkers can do, right? So increasing the odds that they walk up in range of that splash damage. You're getting the glacial procs, you're getting the hush procs. It's really beautiful. It's so annoying to play against when your rangers are just walking around, and yeah, you put the berserkers in the back line. Now the scouting that you want to do is for the desert buff. How important is the lobby you're playing in? How important is it that you have the desert buff? Are there 2, 3 players and they're all going for that 4 warden buff? That's where you want to prioritize the desert buff, and you can drop the Ornn for that Kha'Zix. Okay, it's basically you're scouting for the desert buff. And what's something really cool that you can do if you get, you know, the berserker spat or as well as an assassin spat, I can show you like a really powerful late game transition. Let's get that berserker spat online on the Kha'Zix, and then with an assassin spat you can go ahead, put that on the Olaf, and then with the Ornn you got 3 electrics at level 8, desert, 3 assassin. Very strong variation, but I would say one of the stronger variations right now is this one that I was talking about, the poison variation. Okay, and you're doing the same thing. If you're not getting the berserker spat, well then you're dropping the Kha'Zix. Okay, you're dropping the Kha'Zix, and we have that Jax because we need the 6 berserkers. There you go. This is the poison variation, and again, it's going to depend on what you hit. Are you hitting the Singed or are you hitting the Zed? We talked about the items and you know your priority, but I'm going to tell you what you're going to do with those extra components and some fun combinations you can go for. Kha'Zix with double Frozen Heart, insane. If you're playing Poison, Singed with an Ionic Spark, they get double the mana pool, and the new Ionic Spark is doing 200% of their max mana within 3 hexes. And guess what? Singed is running around all of them, so that 3 hexes staying in range almost always. Okay, next up we got that electric variation. I love Bloodthirster on the Kha'Zix. Otherwise, your extra components are going all on the Zed, Guardian Angel Redemption, and Dragonclaw. Alright, enough of the berserkers. Let's take a look at the counter. But ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a counter to berserkers. This build is actually just really good in this current meta. Why? Because Cloud is very prominent right now. Okay, you got more people playing Rangers, you got more people playing Predators. So it's just a really good build overall. These are the 5 key units: 2 Blade Master, 2 Desert, Cloud, and you're adding in the Karma to buff up the Sivir. Key items: Runon's red buff, Hush, best in slot. If you're not getting these 3, you can look to add in an Infinity Edge or a Giant Slayer. Now let's take a look at where you can go from these 5 units. Okay, it's very versatile. You have a lunar variation where you're adding in the Leona and then you're closing it out with a warden. You know, start out with Nasus, slowly start upgrading your way up to Nautilus, Malphite, whatever you're getting eventually to the 5 cost, either the Mumu or the Taric. Now, as your 8th unit from this position, you can look to add in Crystal with Ash. If you're not finding the Ash, you can look to add in the Aatrox and Master Yi if you got the Blade Master spat. Who are we putting that on? Azir. You're finishing off the build at level 8 with the Master Yi or the Aatrox if you're not finding this. Okay, what's another variation if you don't want to do the lunar one? Well, you got the summoners if you're getting the Yorick and the Annie. These can be, Zyra can be a placeholder until you find these units here. Okay, now if you're not needing the Mystic buff, some lobbies you won't need it, they have no Infernos, no Singed, no anything, then you can just look to finish off the build with Wardens. Again, the best Wardens that you're finding, maybe it's a Mumu, maybe it's Taric, Malphite. Let's use the Malphite, and you can round out your build in this manner. Again, if you're finding that Blade Master spat, go ahead and get into that for Blade Master. Otherwise, if you're having, you know, the Master Yi early on, another variation, say you don't need the Wardens, you drop this and you can just naturally go for Blade Master with the Aatrox and Master Yi at level 8. Where is our beautiful Aatrox? Over here. There we go. Which one do I think is the best variation? I've been having a lot of success with the Lunar Warden one, and especially if you're getting the Taric with Crystal. That's because Taric can keep your team alive long enough for Lunar to proc multiple times. As long as leveling goes, you can keep it pretty similar to Berserker, just a little more standard. You're not playing as much for the win streak. You can still level 2-5 on 2-5 because you are looking for increased odds of hitting 3 costs and Azir and Sivir. Other than that, keep it standard. Level 6 on 3-2, level 7 on 3-5 if you can remain at that 20 gold, 10 gold interval. If you can't, go to level 7 on 4-1 or to the latest. That brings us to the end of the video. Hey, thank you so much for staying all the way up to this point. If you like what you saw, give it a like. Apparently it's really important if you hit that bell notification after subscribing. I'd appreciate it if you did that. Other than that, let me know in the comments below what build you want to see from me next. See you in the next video.